What's good with y'all? Just for a little quick message, man. Man, my phone, I don't know, it was tripping earlier. Out there on the walks. I think I finished for the day, but just wanted to check in with y'all. When y'all studying, man, and God calling y'all to, getting that word, man, and you chosen, man. You gotta make very wise decisions on who you can hang with, who you can deal with. The type of phone calls that you get, the type of things that you allow your energy to be a part of, or you're allowed to give your people you allow to give your energy to, y'all. This is not easy. It's not easy, but is it worth it? Yes, it's worth it because, you got to be challenged, to become something better, to become a better person, a good person, to heal yourself. It's going to come with difficulties, but you got to go through the process. And I tell you, this work right here, man, it's like you going back to school, you know what I mean? Because y'all got to understand, there be moments that, where I be like, man, I'm doing all this, man, and I don't see no results. I don't feel nothing at times, and then, next thing you know, I go out on, I go work out, or I go out there and I get in nature, or I go and ground my feet, just get out there in nature, and then God will just start speaking to me, and letting me know, like, nah, everything that you doing is right. You doing it right. Keep going. And that right there is everything that you need, man. Just to know when God send you them signs, to know that, you know what, I am doing right. Just because I don't feel nothing, just because I don't see no results right now, just because I think and I'm on my own mind doesn't mean that things is not happening in the background, which they happening, y'all. So keep, y'all, and I'm still in a season of solitude, not to the point of where I was last year, where, God had me in solitude where I was healing, and I had to heal those things. I had to, fight through the heartbreaks and the things that I was feeling, on my heart, and, work out, build my strength back up, heal those traumas, heal the heartbreaks, I had to heal and go through all that stuff that he was preparing me for now. Now I'm in a season of knowledge. Because I'm awakened now. I'm spiritually awakened. I'm awakened. So he got me seeking knowledge. He's revealing, gifts, other gifts, and enhancing my gifts and things like that. So I'm still in solitude, but I'm in solitude because now it's knowledge. It's now enhancing my gifts. It's now understanding who I am. It's now, creating a plan. And so I'm telling y'all, stay in the fight. Stay moving forward. Stay out your rear view. Quit turning around to what's easy, and them things that, is more comfortable, or them people that's going to, accept, the things you do, accept your bad behaviors, your toxic behaviors, the things where you comfortable at, and move forward and challenge yourself to be great. Challenge yourself to be the best version of yourself, and letting God guide you, and read, seek knowledge, seek wisdom, y'all, because without knowledge, y'all, we don't have no understanding of what we dealing with in this world, and we dealing with some real, wicked and evil things. And like I tell y'all, we in a real spiritual warfare, and it's real, y'all. It's good versus evil, and this stuff does exist, and you got to understand we are just all energy and vessels, and it's good energy and y'all, we have to heal the trauma, that inner child, we got to heal the addictions, we got to heal the bad behavior, y'all, we got to heal those things that causes us delays and causes us, losses and, karma over our life. And, the karma is not always going to reflect back to you. The things that you can do can reflect back on your family members, your friends, your kids, and that's one of the number one things that you got to realize and watch what you do out here is because, that karma don't mean that it's going to come back on you. It can come back over your kids or your kids' kids, or your kids' kids. That's what comes with a generational curse. It's all about what you do in your actions. So, man, we need to wake up because this stuff is true. This stuff is real. You know what I mean? It's real wicked people in this world, man. And God have awakened me and showed me so much stuff, man. And he trying to awaken y'all. Y'all can see it. I'm going to say this, y'all. You know what I mean? Do it for your kids. You know what I mean? If you have kids or little brothers and sisters or some people that, look up to you or look after you that don't know that dark side. You know what I mean? Like, people always just know the good side of you, but they don't know that dark side of you. You know what I mean? That dark side is what holds all that trauma, that you didn't went through or that you experiences, that you experienced that causing you to be, envious, evil, jealousy, wicked, bitter. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people don't know about that envy, that side, that dark side of you, you know what I mean? Because you try to hide it, and that's demonic, you know what I mean? That's evil, that's manipulation, that's of the devil, you know what I mean? You hiding that on that dark side, and you get into situations or you getting with people, you know what I mean? And they don't know really who you is, or you're afraid to reveal that side because you don't want to heal. You know what I mean? That's why it's important that you need to heal, you know what I mean? Heal for your kids, heal for your family, little bro. So I'm telling y'all, fight the fight. You got support, man. It's all about us opening up, being comfortable enough and have the courage to open up, you know what I mean? And let them certain people that we know that's safe, that's a safe space and a safe place for us, you know what I mean? Let them in to know what you're dealing with, because that's your biggest support system, you know what I mean? It's not the ones that want to keep you drunk, want to feed your addictions, you know what I mean? Give you all those things that that don't serve you no good in your life at all, you know what I mean? Them people that's feeding your addictions, feeding your trauma, manipulating you, playing on your insecurities and your low self-esteem, you know what I mean? That's manipulating you, that's either doing spell work and all. That's spell work, you know what I mean? Manipulation and all that stuff I'm naming is a form of spell work. It's witchcraft, y'all. It's real, you know what I mean? It's and them people is not good for you, you know what I mean? You have to remove yourself from them people, you know what I mean? God say, trust thy brother and trust thy sister, you know what I mean? That's meaning that the ones that's operating, that's of God, you know what I mean? You can trust them. You know what I mean? You safe with them. You know what I mean? They understanding. You know what I mean? They lovable. You know what I mean? They love you. This is the things that, you know what I mean, we don't, you know what I mean, realize. We don't open up because we've been so traumatized and, you know what I mean, so hurt so many times that, we guard it. Everything is guarded. We guard our heart, you know what I mean, because that's the place that we don't want to feel that hurt no more. You know what I mean? So we run from them things. We block out everything from them things. That's not good, because we be having some good people in our lives, y'all. You know what I mean? And we run them people away, you know what I mean? Or a lot of y'all be ghosting, you know what I mean? Y'all ghost, you know what I mean? Which is not good, y'all. You know what I mean? Y'all ghost or y'all play games, you know what I mean? Because y'all got your heart so guarded and y'all don't want to open up and y'all can trust them people. You know what I mean? Y'all, even with my healing process, you know what I mean? What I had to go through is that, it was me and God, you know what I mean? I didn't go to no therapist, you know what I mean? Or no therapy or nothing like that. God have been my therapy, you know what I mean? God, my therapy. He awakened me at the right time. He took me through the things that I had to go through, you know what I mean? I was like in, you know what I mean? In military school, you know what I mean? With the way God had me working out and, you know what I mean? Building my body up, y'all, you know what I mean? Doing these 10 plus miles and 5 plus miles a day and, you know what I mean, wearing this heavy 45-pound vest and 50-pound vest and, you know what I mean, doing all this work on my body to build my mind up, to make me stronger, and then feeding me this wisdom and, you know what I mean, showing me things and stuff where I made mistakes and then things that I overlooked, you know what I mean, and that's what God did to me. He been doing this forever, where he'll replay my whole life for things that I went through, and I go back and that's why I'm telling y'all why I am so confident with God, why I walk around with so much confidence and I speak of God the way I do, you know what I mean, is because I know what I experienced, you know what I mean, in my lifetime, you know what I mean, over and during my life journey, you know what I mean, I know what I experienced every time, you know what I mean, I'm fully awakened to what I was dealing with, you know what I mean, and it's all spiritual, y'all. Life is all spiritual, y'all. You know what I mean, it's certain people that become in your life too that you and that person have repeated things over lifetimes and over lifetimes. This ain't our first rodeo, y'all. You know what I mean? When they say reincarnated and stuff like that, man, that's because we all have been here before. You know what I mean? And we was in another lifetime with another person. You know what I mean? Like, this is facts. You know what I mean? Everything is divine. Everything is spiritual in this world. Until you be awakened to what you're dealing with and what this world is, y'all, you're going to continue to be lost, man. You got to. And I used to be, you know what I mean, so quiet. Everybody know me, you know what I mean, as being quiet, you know, quiet. And, you know what I mean, I used to dim my light, you know what I mean, and push everybody ahead of me, you know what I mean. And I was never supposed to be that way because I was always a leader, you know what I mean. I was never being a follower, but I always felt like, okay, y'all better come on. I'm gonna put y'all ahead of me because I know once I get started and once I go, I leave everybody behind. I have always walked with that type of mind frame and thought because I didn't know who I was at that time, but now I know the reason why I carried that. And I always try to bring people along, y'all, you know what I mean? And God was telling me back then, you know, certain people, you have to release them and let them go. You know what I mean? Because it got to a point, like Tyler Perry said, he get to a point in stages where he had to release people because people not supposed to go all the way to the, you know what I mean, sky with you, you know what I mean, or high with you. They're going to fall off. They not ready. You know what I mean? So now, y'all, you know, since God took me through everything he took me through, and I promise y'all, you know what I mean, even the area where I'm at right now, you know what I mean, even with what took place last year, this was all God, you know what I mean. God said, nuh-uh, you know what I mean, it's time to awaken you. I need you now. Ain't no running this time. Ain't none of that. You know what I mean? God wasn't playing with me, y'all, this time. God said, ain't none of that. You know what I mean? When I tell you how God moved and how God set my life up and what God, y'all don't understand, y'all, what God had did, he put me in position to get everything that I have. You know what I mean? Right now, he set that up. You know what I mean? It wasn't nothing planned. I didn't know what area and direction I was going to. I promise y'all, God set everything up because he said, no, you gonna work. And I knew that I was going to come to North Georgia. I knew, but didn't know where. And this is why I ended up in North Georgia. So, and, you know, y'all, I always knew that I was going to be married. You know what I mean? But God knew, you know what I mean? God knew that, no, y'all not ready yet. You know what I mean? Y'all is not ready yet. Y'all still, this right here, this connection and this marriage is something special. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to work on both of y'all. I'm going to work. Y'all not ready yet. You know what I mean? You need to go do this work for me. I got a calling over your life. You have an anointing. You got assignments to do. I need to awaken you. You know what I mean, y'all? I didn't know who I was. You know what I mean? Even since I was, you know what I mean, God separated us, you know what I mean, last year, you know what I mean, I still didn't know who I was, but I was going through something, y'all. I promise y'all, babe, I was going through something, and God was healing and working on me and trying to wake me up until he sent this pastor in my life. You know what I mean? And he introduced me. When I tell you God gonna bring the right people in your life, he do. He brought this pastor. Her name is Pastor J. And when he brought that woman into my life, he showed that pastor showed me. I'm telling y'all, you know, marriage is a spiritual contract. You know what I mean? It's a gift from God. It's a blessing from God, y'all. If it's not of God, if the marriage ain't led by God, you know what I mean, it's going to be destroyed, y'all. I promise y'all, ain't nothing, I don't care who you is going to end up in a divorce. You know what I mean? If it's not led by God, you know what I mean, and y'all not doing right, you know what I mean, it's going to lead to a divorce. It's not, God's not going to let it happen because that's how it is with us. Like, we don't know the knowledge. We don't know the background of real marriage. You know what I mean? Marriage is a spiritual contract. It's a gift and a blessing from God, you know what I mean, with your person. You don't just supposed to marry no anybody. You know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to just marry no anybody or for fame or for looks or, oh, I had the biggest wedding. No, that ain't. But a wedding is a spiritual contract. It's a divine connection, you know what I mean, between you and your special person. You know what I mean? A soulmate, a twin. So I'm telling y'all, you know, I know God made me for one woman. He ain't made me to have multiple women, you know what I mean, or to be in a multiple connection. You know what I mean? God, he didn't make me to be that way, and I have always been this way my whole life. You know what I mean? It's either I'm gonna deal with that person or I'm gonna deal with this person. It ain't I'm gonna deal with this person, and that person at the same time. That have never been me. You know what I mean? No matter what, it have never been me. You know what I mean? So I know, you know what I mean, now, you know what I mean, why God did what he did. I know that I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? He knew that I wasn't ready. He knew that we wasn't ready. You know what I mean? And he not just going to let me get into something when, you know what I mean, I am who I am to him. You know what I mean? And I'm chosen. So everything that he have, you know what I mean, already put on my life, you know what I mean, it's going to be special and it's going to be big, y'all. You know what I mean? And once I do get married and things like that, I know I'm going to have so much more favor from God because this is what he wants. And the thing is he won't even allow me to be in connection with a person that got all that stuff going on. You know what I mean? He won't allow me to be in there. He gonna blow it up. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, he gonna blow it up. You know what I mean? Especially if I don't know about those things, he gonna blow it up, and I promise you that person will receive karma. You know what I mean? Like, he gonna work on that person. You know what I mean? Because God brought me into these women's lives, you know what I mean, and people's lives to heal them, you know what I mean, to help them grow, to help them mature, to awaken them spiritually, you know what I mean, to do all these things, you know what I mean, and some come, you know what I mean, make it out of it, some don't. You know what I mean? But, you know, it ain't like that. Every relationship and every person that come in my life is always like some sexual or something like that, because it don't be that. It probably be just a good friendship. You know what I mean? But I was supposed to go in them people's lives or family lives because it was my assignment, you know what I mean, to heal and show them love. So I'm telling y'all this, you know, keep fighting the fight, you know what I mean? Keep striving to be great, you know what I mean? Put God first and foremost, you know what I mean? And, you know, trust you. Trust God. Put God first. Trust you. You know what I mean? Don't be going off somebody trying to take somebody else's, you know what I mean, guidance, you know what I mean, or them trying to tell you about, you know, moves to make or tell you about your life or what you should do when they life ain't right. How can a person that life is, you know what I mean, out of control, you know what I mean, or they're not of God, or, you know what I mean, they had no type of success in their life, how can they give you any type of guidance in your life? How can you take any type of, you know what I mean, guidance from people like that? You know, y'all trust yourself, trust God. That's why you have to run to God. Don't run to them people. Run to God. That's your source, your number one source for all the information, all the security, all the love. You know what I mean? It's God, y'all. Y'all got to wake up. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, it's all God. God just put something on my spirit, man, to get on here and talk again. You know, while I'm doing this studying, you see that I just been talking all this time, and, you know what I mean, I'm looking at different names, man. I just learned some more compound names that, you know, they used to call God, you know, in the Bible and stuff like that I didn't know nothing about, y'all, you know. And they, you know, I'm so, you know, lack the knowledge and understanding of God, you know, that I didn't know all these names that they used to call God. And, you know what I mean, when God was a healer, he had a different name, you know what I mean? When God was a provider, he had a different name, you know. When God, the sacrifices, he had a different name, you know what I mean? And, you know, the Lord, our peace, you know what I mean? Had, you know, God had a different name, and the shepherd, he had a different name. The righteousness, he had a different name, y'all. It's so much stuff that, man, we lack the knowledge and understanding of who God is, you know, that we have to get in tune with God, y'all, because it's like American history, you know what I mean? When you went to school for American history and all that, it's so much. So I'm telling y'all, you know, if y'all feeling a tug on your heart, you know what I mean, when you think about God or when you pray, you know what I mean, or when you're in a situation and you know that situation ain't right, or when you're around some people and you know they not of God and they not right, and you feeling a tug on your heart, you know what I mean, and your intuition, you know what I mean, your discernment kicking in, you know, that you know you have to get away, you know what I mean, this ain't right, you know what I mean, I don't like this lifestyle, I don't like this no more, this not me no more, I'm better than this, I'm a changed person now, but I love them people. You have to make the sacrifices, you know what I mean? Point blank, period. You know what I mean? You have to make them sacrifices to become great, to receive the abundance God got for you, to go on your journey, you know what I mean? Start your journey and try to and fight your way through that storm, you know what I mean? To become that better version of you. For all them things you say you want, you know what I mean? The persons you want to be with, you know what I mean? What you want for your family, you have to make them sacrifices that holding you back and cause. And I tell y'all, it's easy said than done. It's easy said than done, but with God, anything is possible. And that's what y'all need to know. With God, anything is possible. You know what I mean? Don't limit yourself. Don't doubt yourself. Get out there fear. You know what I mean? And that doubt, cast that upon God. Ask God for courage. You know what I mean? God, give me courage. You know what I mean? Give me the courage, Father God. You know what I mean? I'm going to cast all this upon you. I need the strength. I need the courage. You know what I mean? I need to seek you. You know what I mean? Forgive me. You know what I mean? You know, thank you for your grace and your mercy. You know what I mean? Forgive me for my sins. You know what I mean? But I want to seek you now, God. You know, I'm asking for your forgiveness. You know what I mean? I want to repent to you, Father God. That's how you got to come at God. You got to talk to God like that, where he know it's real. You know what I mean? Or know what he going to start doing. He going to start opening doors. He going to start healing you from the inside. He going to start guiding you more to him. He going to give you peace. You know. And the thing is, too, y'all, and this last, and I'm up out of here. You know what I mean? God is using me to let y'all know, hey, seeking God, you know what I mean, and getting in that word is the new cool. It's cool. You know what I mean? It's cool seeking God. You know what I mean? I love it. You know what I mean? It's a challenge. You know what I mean? Physically, it's making me stronger and look better. You know what I mean? Mentally, it's keeping my mind sane. You see what I'm saying? And it's helping me. It's giving me the knowledge, you know what I mean, the wisdom that I need. You know, it's making me speak better and talk better. You know what I mean? When I'm out there speaking to y'all. And giving y'all these messages from God, you know, critical thinking, you know what I mean, technical writing, you know what I mean, like all these things that I am advancing at, you know what I mean, that I didn't know, you know what I mean. I used to try to skip these things because I thought it was hard, man. And it's God improving these things, enhancing these things, showing me that anything is possible. So God is letting y'all know that seeking him is the new cool. So, hey, you know me, I love y'all, you know, I pray for y'all, man. I pray over the generational traumas that, you know, a lot of y'all went through and traumas y'all went through because I went through these things, y'all. That's why I'm here to talk to y'all. I can talk to y'all. I can relate to y'all. God had me go through these things earlier, you know what I mean, early in life, you know what I mean, to go down these different roads, man, and, you know what I mean, cause delays in my life to have these experiences, y'all. You know what I mean, to be able to talk to y'all right now today. Once he awakened me in December, he awakened me last year, but I didn't know who I was until December when it was revealed who I am to God. But I was awakened the last year, you know what I mean, when I was fully awakened. You know what I mean? Knowing that this is time to go on this journey. God ain't playing with me for some reason. But then, like I say, he brought this pastor in my life. Her name is Pastor J. And she revealed who I am. And that's when I found out who I am. And one more thing, too, y'all, is that you got to get out that victimized mentality. You know what I mean? You're not the only one that dealt with trauma. You know what I mean? You're not the only one that going through things. It's so many people that just choose to deal with it. You know what I mean? That have been through generational trauma, you know what I mean? Or trauma or generational curses over their bloodline. You know what I mean? That we don't know what people in the dealt with, but you're not the only one that went through trauma, childhood trauma. So you need to heal that inner child. You know what I mean? I don't know who I'm talking to, but I'm talking to somebody. Heal that inner child. You know what I mean? Because God gonna instill something else. When you heal that inner child and quit acting like a baby and mature and seek God, God gonna remove that and put something inside that right there, that heart. He gonna open that heart and you gonna start feeling it. Something that you ain't never felt before. You know what I mean? But then he gonna instill something in that heart that's gonna continue to mature you and grow you and know that I can no longer. I'm gonna end it like this. You know what I mean? Like I say, a lot of y'all have never heard me speak like this. A lot of y'all ain't never heard me praise God like this. You know what I mean? Speak God's name like this. You know what I mean? Like none of y'all. And y'all can say it. Y'all ain't never heard me speak like or talk like this. You know what I mean? A lot of y'all ain't never really heard me talk before. You know what I mean? I've been so quiet for years and years and years. You know what I mean? That, like I say, I was lost. I didn't know who I was. You know what I mean? I knew I had people around me and I was places that I wasn't supposed to be. You know what I mean? So I'm telling y'all right now, man, it's time for change. It's time to heal. You know what I mean? And it's time to wake up, y'all, because we dealing with some things in this world that says it in the Bible. Y'all see what's going on with Israel and Iran. You know what I mean? World War III. Y'all see what's happening right here on our land field. You know what I mean? Civil War. You know what I mean? It have nothing to do with black people. You know what I mean? Listen, it have nothing to do with us, but we is involved and we gonna be affected. Like I'm saying, y'all, if we don't come together, you know what I mean, as a race. And like I say, I'm not racist. I love all. I'm a colorblinded. You know what I mean? I love all people of God. You know what I mean? God's people. That's how He made me. But when I'm telling y'all, specifically for the black race, the African American, you know what I mean, race, y'all. If we don't wake up and we don't come together, you know what I mean, with what's finna happen, and it's finna happen. Trust me, y'all. You know, that's why God doing what He doing is preparing His chosen ones for this date and for what's to come. You know what I mean? So we can, you know what I mean, we can boost the confidence. We can go back in and build the communities, you know what I mean, and help His people, you know. But if we don't come together, y'all, we gonna be wiped out. Y'all see what they doing to our youth. They constantly giving them the guns, the drugs, you know what I mean, the males that can't reproduce, even the females now, they lost. You know what I mean? So how do our race supposed to continue to grow if they destroying it? You know what I mean? So y'all gotta wake up. You know, God bless y'all. You know what I mean? I pray that God bless you and your families. You know what I mean? That He protect and cover you and your families. That He place His arms and wings wrapped around you, y'all. That He kept y'all covered with the blood of Jesus. You know what I mean? I pray that God, you know what I mean, just give y'all, you know what I mean, that type of protection. That He waking y'all up, you know what I mean? That He heal those things that y'all dealing with, the sicknesses, you know what I mean? That, you know, what are mental health issues, you know what I mean? Or whatever it is that you're dealing with, financial issues, that God give y'all a blessing. That God heal those health issues, you know what I mean? The mental health issues, you know what I mean? Whatever you dealing with, just so He give you peace, because that's what the most important thing that you want from God is understanding and peace. You know what I mean? Once you get that understanding and peace, y'all can't nothing or nobody come in between that. You know what I mean? All people gonna want to do is be around you because it's so peaceful. And I got one more thing to say too, y'all, and I'm out of here. Hey, women, you know what I mean? Stop searching for black man to be a finished product. You know what I mean? That's why you keep on jumping from man to man to man to man to man, because you don't have no loyalty. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? You don't trust yourself. You know what I mean? And you're not trying to build with that black man, you know. So that's why a lot of black men is going to other, you know, racial, you know what I mean, different racial women's, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, because, you know what I mean, we do really want us a black woman, but y'all don't be, most of y'all don't be down for us, you know what I mean? Y'all don't be there to support us, you know what I mean? God made you all out of our rib, you know what I mean, to come alongside of us and help us build our empire. That don't make you, you know what I mean, just because you have to submit, or you should submit in the spiritual world, in the Christian world, you should submit, but that don't make you any lesser than us. You supposed to come upon the side of us and help us build our empire. So quit expecting you're going to seek a... So make sure you get with somebody, you know what I mean, your life partner, your soulmate, you know what I mean, whatever that you got a divine connection with, or, you know, whatever that person that God bring you. Make sure when you with them person that you stick it out with them people, and that you build women, that you heal yourselves and you trust them men, and you come alongside and you build with them if they some real trustworthy God men, you know, or they changing and want to become better, you know what I mean, that you stick with them men and you build with them men. You know what I mean? Because a lot of y'all be mad when, you know, once y'all leave them men, you know, or them men got tired and they left y'all, and then their life became better, or they found somebody and they made that other person happy. Y'all be mad and spiteful, and it turns y'all bitter and envious, you know what I mean? Doing that devil work, become little Jezebels, you know, let that Jezebel spirit and, you know, that Delilah spirit and that Jezebel spirit attached to y'all, you know? So y'all need to heal, man. Heal and stick. Learn how to be loyal, man, and stick and work it out with them people and build with them people.